You actually think this is going to be a support Naga? You seem very confident with that. I mean, I guess like we've seen it in POS 1. It doesn't look great. Like you're so reliant on having an amazing start. I mean, why not, right? Why not bring the support Naga back? I agree, Jonathan.
It's just so strange to pick a POS 1, POS 3 first phase, I think. And that's what gets you thinking, like, sure, you could start with Naga. You didn't ban LC, right? So if you're thinking about Naga safe lane, you should ban Legion Commander, because overwhelming odds makes the laning phase hellish. And they don't take care of it. So I think maybe it's just going to be the POS 4, and I swear to goodness I've seen that played in the BTS Pro Series 9. I just can't recall too well now, but I believe it was Boomy. So I might be wrong about that, but it was run on support at some point with the Darkseer as well. So that same combination was pulled out. And you do have a lot of presence early on. You could Iron Shell the Naga, run up, get the net off, surround with illusions, and just rip through with a Riptide. That will take like level 3 going for a 1-1-1 on Naga, but at that point you'd have level 2 Iron Shell as well. And the damage is really easy to pull off.
Well, there's your Ember Spirit coming out for NGX. Alacrity, we kind of talked about it last game, but he had a tough laning stage, kind of turned it around, had a pretty damn good game on the Ember. Just feels like a very comfortable kind of pick for him in that mid lane. Polaris, I mean, you don't have the Invoker this time around, nor do you have heroes like the Kunkka, who do tend to do pretty well against the Ember. You've still got the other Spirit Brothers, if you want to go Void Spirit. Storm's there as well, but they don't seem too amazing into the Ember. Maybe, you know, some more interesting things to reveal about this draft here with this Naga pickup as they do go into the puck. Definitely a hero that does not mind the Ember too much. Still looking for those big combos with the Naga though. Like right now I'm looking at the double Iron Shell with Ensnare, obviously very powerful. I'm looking at a puck, so you have a nice Scream Coil set up if you find the right moment to song. Is it enough though, John? Is that what we've picked this hero for? Well, now we've got an Oracle coming out, so what's the go, Jonathan?
I would have preferred Disruptor. You know, you're going all in, you've got Darkseer, Naga Siren, Disruptor not banned, and they go with the Oracle instead, so yeah, I guess if they're not emphasizing Naga combos, then that should just be the POS 4. Oracle, we haven't seen that hero too much. It is still really good. That does kind of set up for a nice POS 1 for Natsumi. Again, they could go for, say, a Troll with the Oracle combo. They could try, I guess, Terrorblade as well if they want to go that route, although against Ember Spirit it can be a bit tougher. But you could give that a shot as well. Any of those heroes that do enjoy being up front, Ursa could be one, but they don't know their offlane matchup. NGX is going to have to show something here. Their tendency is to kind of leave the Mizu hero last for a lot, so they might just go for their IYD hero, and they do. Raid King comes out, and that is one way to kind of hold the lane against Darkseer. You're very tanky on the Raid King. You can kind of just try to crit down the creep that is Iron Shelled up. If it's your own creep, you kind of just have to deal with it. And if the lane goes really bad, you can jungle early on. Once your skeletons are up, just dip into jungle, get farm. You're not going to be outfit. You have some early timings as well. And I think that's key for NGX. They don't want to drag this game all too long. They know with a Darkseer and Naga, they can scale really well into late game. So the Raid King does mean that they're going to be aiming to play a lot quicker. There's also the back and forth there. Like with an Oracle, you do sort of have a second life with a False Promise. Raid King also has Reincarnate. So you can kind of play with that back and forth. Interested to see that NGX are banning POS once, Mike. So they expect the Naga support as well.
Okay. One more ban to go. What else do you like against the Wraith King? Like, you've still got the Luna and things like that if you want to go down that route, but we've seen Luna just hasn't looked really amazing. I suppose it is Natsumi, so you could go for things like the PA. You know, Morphling's still there if he wants to try and run it back. Though I dare say it's not the greatest idea considering the last experience he had, but you never know. They've got 2 minutes of reserve time to think about this, so plenty of time to try and find a great way to finish off this draft. I've got to say, it does look a little bit all over the place, if I'm quite frank. And well, they're going to go into the Tiny. I guess that's fair. It was just left alone, and it's still pretty darn good in the POS 1 role. Obviously not as good as it used to be just a couple weeks ago, but still good. NGX, though.
They don't have that option for the Mizu Brewmaster, as Polaris has corrected that drafting mistake, banning it out in the second phase of bans. So NGX, what's left? They could try. They feel like they need more.
Still there.
Yeah, else would be good. Like, you have good Dispel. Hagshard's gonna be great. You can punish the Naga Siren with illusions. You can punish Darkseer illusions as well in the Vac Wall. So LC could be a good way. The lane against the Tiny is okay. NGX Undying comes out. Please say that's Mizu. I hope he takes it.
Pretty
Yes,
sure it
the
is.
core off-lane Undying.
Yeah.
My favorite position for the Undying. Yeah, you know, that's my favorite role.
John. Never seen you
I haven't played it in a long while. It's been, you know, I played it a lot when you ran a tri-lane all the time, and you'd run solo off-lane, right? Like, that was peak Undying.
Yeah.
That was just the easiest time for Undying, because 3-man decay, you never die. You hold that lane well. In this case, it should be dual lanes, of course. It is Boomy Naga Siren and not Sumi Tiny as we expected, so they will run that Naga Siren Darkseer combination. For Mizu, I mean, the Tiny doesn't enjoy that lane. Decay, you take away strength. The Tiny early on has no armor, so you're going to be able to pressure him out just by stealing HP and getting some right clicks off. Jocam's going to be there with his line as well to cut off, or Paulson with a snap. I think I do prefer Snapfire Undying, but the line should take farm priority there. So we'll see how the lanes do split up. Draft-wise, I think in the end, I'm going to have to say NGX came out in top, Mike. Like, they've got the Wraith King with 2 lives. You don't have any way of burning through his mana. Sure, you do have scaling with the Tiny to an extent. Like, the Ag Shard, Silver Edge build-up is still really good. But I think in these prolonged fights, NGX does kind of get the better edge. You might be able to get some good Vac Waltz with the Dream Coil on top, but it's all down to execution for Polaris, and NGX is not going to make it easy to land those big combinations.
No, I certainly agree with you on that, John. We'll get into it. Game number 2. You know, John, now that you've brought up the tri-lanes earlier on, you talked about how great the Undying was in tri-lanes. You know, another hero that really enjoyed tri-lanes, Jonathan, Earth Spirit. Those were the days. Earth Spirit loved tri-lanes. And I'll be quite frank, I miss tri-lanes. I think it's been too long since we've been in a meta where tri-lanes were just normal. And like, how many years has it been since we've seen a proper minute 0 tri-lane versus tri-lane situation? It's just been too long.
It really was. Those were the days. The slugfest. The off lane literally being just a dead lane from minute 0. So you pick heroes that can kind of self-sustain. Those were the fun days. That's when off lane felt so much more fun because it was such a challenge. You'd play from basically what most people would consider just a losing position off the start. And try to find a win condition from it. You know, that was the exciting time. Dual lanes, you know, they're still fun. There's still some dynamics there. We see that with Morris. We see that with Tide. But it's a bit more equalized, right? You might see some aggression, but you usually try to deny farm and get your own farm. The emphasis is still trying to build up. So it's not as live or die. You know, it's not as live or die. It's much more stabilized and balanced because of that.
I guess so. I do miss those times when you had to play solo offlane. Like that was the time where I used to play solo offlane because you could be bad at it and nobody would know the difference, right? You're just like, yeah, I'm playing offlane against a tri-lane. What do you think's gonna happen? Of course I've got no farm. Of course I've died for the 10th time. Makes enough sense. In your dream? He's gonna be alright. Just a quick fortune turn down and Boomy will harass him on the way out. We kind of talked about it during the drafting phase, but you know, Boomy, along with his Darkseer, is going to be a decently painful experience for the side of NGX. I think, as you're going to have the ensnare and the double iron shells. Hopefully, we'll see if that's going to be the case, but not 100% sure quite yet.
Yeah, I like what Boomy's doing here though. On the support, Naga, brown boots up, 375 move speed. You can't run, even though she does 45 damage, 44 to 46 swing. It's still annoying. You know, you're not going to be able to stop that constant harassment coming out from Boomy. Nico does have the level 1 Iron Shell, and Boomy with his brown boots can just run up and keep that Iron Shell going on the supports.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about the barking in the background. There's a lot of havoc going on in the back. John, Paulison in your dream. Oh, they're going to make the jump in onto Nico right now. Darkseer going to be in a spot of danger. Looks like he's going to be just fine. We'll quickly go through the other lanes because I feel like there's going to be some more havoc coming out very, very soon. There's Mac and Alacrity in the mid lane on the Ember and the Puck. Do you favor one or the other, John?
And the Puck might have a bit of an edge early on. Early levels you can burn through the Flame Guard, make it so that Alacrity can't wave here as well. But once you hit level 3, level 4, with more points in the Flame Guard, you can kind of hold your own. Block a lot of damage from the puck, play with your own sleight of fist, and draw an equal lane. It boils down to rune control. And that's where the back and forth should come out. Support should come in to deny off water runes, to try to secure it for their own core. Not sure how much movement you can expect from the supports when the side lanes are so active, though.
Very, very true. Well, spot lane as well. Mizu, Jokam going to be there with CML and Natsumi. Natsumi, I think he should have an okay time. Like, he can be very, very scary, I suppose, against the Undying line, but if you don't overextend, should be just fine. You've got CML there as well to just keep you healed up the whole time. I think as long as they don't, you know, go too far forward here on this tiny, chances are Mizu's not going to be able to really affect his farm too much.
Yeah, you just need to watch for how much decay comes through from Mizu. If he does manage to get like 2 decays off, you're going to be in the negatives of strength. You know, your strength here as well, your base damage goes down. It becomes a lot easier to poke and prod because you have 0 armor. That means every point of HP you're taking away makes it easier to burst you down on that tiny. So the matchup does kind of work for the Undying. Issue is your wave clear isn't amazing. Even though decay kind of works, its damage early on isn't great. And it's very costly for Undying to use that to wave clear as well. So in that sense, Natsumi should have a better time clearing out the wave. And you're seeing that reflected in the CS. Natsumi up 16-1. Mizu down at 11-1. Can't really do much to compensate for that yet.
Yeah.
你这么看着队友不会生气吧，哥哥？
Paulson is casually being chased around here by Burmese. It's Nagasara just not leaving him alone. This feels very powerful right now as he does go for the ensnare out onto the Snapfire. Paulson could be in danger now as Nico's going to make the rotation over. You've got that vacuum up and now you've got the Iron Shell onto Boomy. And yeah, I think Paulson, he's just dead. There you go, first blood coming out. Boomy able to pick it up on the Naga Siren. In Your Dream though is going to try and fight back, but he's going to be cautious himself. A lot of damage out on the Naga. In Your Dream, you can't fight into those double Iron Shells. So if Nico makes the decision to come over and join in, it'd be a very scary time for the Wraith King as well.
Never refuse.
Yeah, and I have to say, it's just down to the fact that Boomy has so much move speed. Like, Trevin's 375, you can't run away from him. If you get double Iron Shell on top, you're not going to live through that combination. The good thing about that debt on Paulson is that it allows a mid-rotation. So he gets a bottle top up for Elect, he secures a water rune as well, and he managed to grab the bot water rune, forcing Mac all the way back if he's not careful.
Yeah. Well, bot lane, Mizu does end up dropping, so just left alone for a while. Jokam rotating to secure some water runes, but he's going to allow Mizu to kind of be susceptible there to Natsumi, and he does pick up the kill on the Tiny. Not off to the greatest start. By the way, John, is this something we see very often? In fact, hold that thought, because top lane, more Iron Shells popping up. In Your Dream, he's going to try and chase down Nico on the Darkseer. Boomy still rushing forward here, getting more damage off onto In Your Dream, but eventually will have to back. But I was going to ask you about Mizu's item build-up, John. The Helm of the Dominator build. Something we usually see on Undying?
No, not really, but I think it has place. The stats the Helm of the Dominator gives is really good. The added creep gives you more presence, helps you with control if you get the Centaur creep as well. So you have something to play with the Tombstone zombie slows. You do see a nice kill coming out from the Wraith King, of course, punishing how low Nico was. But I think the Dominator does have place. You know, the value is there for the controlled creep. The Undying is one of those heroes that can use that and help kind of balance out the momentum you want to build up with the hero. Overlord is pretty good on the hero as well, because again, stats. Builds off from Vlad's. You kind of used to go for aura builds on Undying, so you have that option as well for utility and just more durability going forward for Mizu.
Well, 5.5 minutes in, 2-1 so far. Mac. Trying to get aggressive here against Alacrity. Cookie out, they have got the Naga, Boomy. Still gonna go in. Dreamcore's been committed here by Mac with the orb out. Boomy, he's somehow still alive, but eventually will get taken down as now Mac, he could be in danger. They found the puck. Can they hold him down long enough though? Not quite. Jokam, he tried to make the rotation in from the side, but didn't really have the mana to commit the stun. the end, at least they get the puck out of there, but they will lose Booming.
bounties.
Yep. Nice pickup for Alacrity. Just leveraging his level 6 spike, going for the 0-3-2 build, prioritizing the Sleight of Fist. So he's got the damage output with a right click, just with the Blightstone. He is going to be picking up his full power treads up. So even more damage and some nice juggling around with the stats to keep himself in the lane. So far, even game, 2-2, 1k lead coming out from NGX. That aggression we were seeing from Polaris earlier on, they haven't really been able to commit too much on their top, right? Like we were expecting a bit more activity with Naga. Instead, Boomy's just looking to be disruptive, build up some stacks across the map, which is something that Naga Siren can do really fast, especially if you use your mirror image for that. But beyond that, it is a bit slower paced here for Polaris now. They're tuning it back a bit, building up on Natsumi. Our Tiny is still basically free-farmed in that lane, just not really being able to be zoned out by the Undying. Level 6 is up on Mizu, but for you to really maximize the flash goal, you need follow-up damage. And without the line hanging around, feeling like Mizu can hold the off-lane solo, there's not much aggression Mizu can really do here.
And let's toss out again. Mizu, though, this time is going to be just fine as he will try to turn. They've got the damage this time as Alacrity is going to show up, and it looks like Natsumi is going to pay for that attempt. They will get a very important kill here on NGX. The CML doesn't even have the Fate's Edict up right now, so really couldn't block off any of the damage. In the meantime, though, mid lane, they found the Lion. They might get something for their trouble, and they will. Mac, he'll take that one for himself. Definitely a pretty big win there for NGX, though, with that Tiny kill.
Yep. You feel a lot better slowing down the Tiny's pacing. It opens up a bit of shove on that bot tier 1 as well. TPs will come in for the defense. Natsumi is back up, and he is level 7, so there's some good right-click damage coming through from Natsumi.
Movements forward, CML in trouble again as Alacrity just not stopping quite yet, but he is running a little bit low on HP. Won't matter though, he still just strikes him down, and Mizu will give the soul rip over, so Natsumi again going to be in danger, forcing more TPs down bot. Mac is going to come over, even without the Dream Coil up. He just feels like he needs to make sure this Pos 1 Tiny does survive. And now the X out, Earthspike there. They might have him. No, he'll orb away. Alacrity not quite close enough to go for the Sleight of Fist Chains combo. Polaris already, their backs against the wall. And of course, all this time being bought for In Your Dream, who is freely farming right now on this Wraith King.
He's just not being contested by Nico at all. Like, there needs to be backup for the Darkseer. There needs to be some movement out. They will catch Chokin now, though.
Yep. Natsumi. Go down. I mean, you got Jokam again. He is so max happy, but you can't really afford to keep losing your Tiny like this. Just a pretty bad start for Polaris overall, I'd say.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
I mean, maybe they even find CML here. Alacrity, he'll just keep chasing. One more slight might do it. He'll have chains in 3 anyway. And there you go, he doesn't even need it. Just gets the Sleight of Fist out. Another kill for the Ember, and he's already 5-0-0 in this mid-Ember Spirit. And keep in mind, John, in the meantime, while he's left this mid lane, while the mid tower has taken some damage, it's still standing. So they have not been able to really take advantage of Alacrity leaving that mid lane for so long. I suppose on the brighter side, though, they are going to get Mizu. Surely. He'll decay, but he is eventually going to drop.
You took that jape too far.
Find that kill. They are still getting space out for AD, and they might catch out Nico here.
Mortimer's Kiss is not going to help out too much with that Fate's Edict, but it is going to wear off. Nico is going to try and run, but the Scatter Blast is going to be enough. Alacrity, though, has shown up. Does cop the Avalanche Toss combo. Out from Natsumi, but that'll be about it. That kind of goes to show exactly how this game's going right now, John. I mean, Natsumi's forced to join his team and try to fight. This is your Pos 1 Tiny getting involved this early on, and it just doesn't feel very good.
It really doesn't. You just want to sit back, hit your Echo Saber timing, hit your Shadow Blade timing. That's when you can be more aggressive. But look at Alacrity just jumping forward.
Oh, he's on absolute fire, Alacrity. He might keep going. In fact, he tries, but Boomy is going to survive. 5-0-0 still on this Ember. Just no slowing this man down.
I think there's a funny interaction we don't see too often. I think the disarm actually stops damage from coming through on the Sleight of Fist. So,
Right.
got disarmed there. No right-click damage coming out. That did save Boomy in the end. Would have been a nice pickup, but quick fingers coming out from CML. Still a good state of the game for NGX. 2K lead building up. In Your Dream has all the space in the world. Already has Armlet going into Desolator next. Right-click damage going to be skyrocketing soon. Whereas for Natsumi, the build-up's a lot slower. You know, still waiting for the Echo Saber, just trying to look for space for himself. Is playing up top. He's got a lane for him to kind of work on, but the rest of NGX here, just playing aggressive, posturing his tree, looking for mid, taking over the bot jungle, and making it hellish for Polaris to play anywhere else in the map.
Back. No Cam, he's looking for the Hex out, and he's got it. That's a big wall, and Vac being committed into the song now. They might try and turn this one. A lot of illusions around, but no, they can't. They can't do it. I don't think they'll have the control. Boomy. Still getting chased down even all throughout that. I mean, maybe they could try to turn on Alacrity, but it's not looking great for that either. He's just got no fear at the moment as the cookie is not going to land. They at least allow Boomy to get out, but in the meantime, that mid-tier 1 tower is just going to drop. An immediate smoke out. NGX, they are not done. They'd love a bit more. And it looks like they're going to run right into that POS 1 Tiny. Natsumi showing under vision for a moment. Scans are there, but it may be too late. Natsumi has been spotted, or has he? He'll go for a TP. No, he does not make it out. They've got plenty of damage control here. Unfortunately, Boomy showed up to try and help. Nothing he really can do, though. Maybe they find a trade for a support, but not even that. They don't have the coil up.
Yeah, they were just a bit too late in responding to that rotation on Natsumi and that Tiny kill. Again, slowing down the pace of Tiny, slowing down the item spikes. Echo Saber is up, but you really do need that Shadow Blade into Silver Edge to have some impact in Boomy.
Yep, getting caught out by the chains, and well, that high base armor you've got in that Naga, it is slowly not going to matter now. NGX continue to just dominate the game. 3K net worth advantage. 6-9 is the score. Very, very nice. Again, In Your Dream in the meantime, he's just free farming. I believe he's working towards the Desolator now. And once you've got the Deso up, we've seen what happens. You just get one hit.
Pretty much. Like, the damage is going to be piling on. Especially once they're softened up by that decay. Like, you take off 8 strength. Literally everyone's going to get one shot, although...
No, they try. There's not really much in the way of fighting right now. Try at least with the Undying. Mizu, he's still healthy. They'll go on to the Oracle into the backside. CML is basically guaranteed to die here on the Oracle, but I suppose everybody else is still slowly walking their way out. But even with the jump, they just can't fight. There's no real fighting for this kind of craft. Not after the laning stage they have.
No. Like, you kind of need a lot of Iron Shells up to be able to kind of posture up, but they're all sort of squishy at this point, that they can't really afford to be so far forward. Maybe once Nico has his Ags up in the Darkseer, it feels a lot better. So you'll have double Iron Shell, plus 275 HP, easier to just commit Naga Illusions up front and try to chase around to get that done. Look at In Your Dream though. He's had the double damage for a while, 891 and crit. That's without the Desolator, so it's set to get even higher. And he doesn't care. He's surrounded by heroes. He knows he can't die. And he knows he can just do what he wants. Like, he's finding all the farm. Desolator up in 200 gold. The rest of NGX taking over Triangle, taking over top lane, limiting the room for Polaris to keep farming up here.
Polaris grouping up as 5. That's basically all they can do right now. Because if you get caught by yourself, you are probably going to get caught out and die. Mizu, snared up. Tombstone has been dropped, and they'll just song to focus down the Tombstone. Make sure there's no games, but now the Mortimer's Kisses fly in from a mile away. They at least found Jokam though, but Mizu, he might try to force the fight anyway. Cooking forward onto the Oracle. CML in big trouble, and he is going to drop. Coil though, will at least lock down too. They try to vacuum out Alacrity off that coil, but it's not going to be enough. He's fine. And Paulison, he'll just keep fighting. They just do not respect the vac wall whatsoever. As Nico is still trying to help out Natsumi, getting another kill. Mizu though, he's not dying quite yet, but eventually will go down. They do get some nice kills from the source here, Polaris. Mac though, Still being chased as Alacrity wants a little bit more, but now he's in trouble. The tree toss is out, and they've got the ensnare. That's a massive amount of gold now going the way of Nico, as they might even find Paulison. So eventually Polaris able to get aggressive, but In Your Dream's going to show up. Just him and JoeCam alone. He wants to go for a fight very confidently, and surprisingly Polaris will not try to force the fight. It was a 5v2.
Yeah, I think they understand. In Your Dream is going to take a lot of commitment to kill off twice. He's got a lot of damage, a lot of HP with the armlet up. So he can't really choose to force it out too well. I mean, Tiny has some good armor with Grow level 2 now, but you are still vulnerable to a lot of minus armor and minus strength on the NGX. So they play it safe. In Your Dream taking this as a cue to go into Roshan though with the Desolator up. It's like a TA. Just hit that early spike, you've got the damage. You can get to work onto Roshan, securing the Aegis, more than likely for Alacrity, as the rest of the team streams in. Scan does spot this out. So Polaris could look to play in. They've got Dream Coil already, but Knack is still too far away. No wall, but it's going to be up as well. So there's some counterplay potential here for the Radiant side.
Roshan is eventually going to go down. They'll get it. Aegis up now, so 3 lives on In Your Dream. In the meantime, they found out Boomy. That Naga Siren. You kind of require Boomy to be alive for that re-engage and disengage, but it looks like he is eventually set to... Oh, never mind. In Your Dream, he can't actually close the gap. That outpost just took way too long. Meantime though, mid lane, Alacrity playing games with the rest of Polaris, just all by himself, still feeling it. He'll remnant forward, onto the Tiny he goes with these Sleight of Fists out, and now the Mortimer's Kisses will fly in from the skies, and Natsumi just cannot survive through it. It's just almost sad to see. Alacrity's just going against 4 heroes and they just cannot hold him down.
Yeah, they don't have the best lockdown. Like, the root from your Naga is pretty good, but the follow-up damage just isn't there. You're not big enough on the Tiny to really get controlled yet. It's going to take a lot more farm for the Tiny to hit that point. And again, Silver Edge would be the point, but it looks like Natsumi's just rushing for the Daedalus, knowing that probably the Silver Edge is not going to be enough. Just go for the full big boy crit on that Daedalus and see how it goes. They've lost their top tier 1. NGX still maintaining control in the triangle. Still maintaining lots of lanes shoved in. There is that bot jungle, which is relatively safe for Polaris, and that's where Mac is playing. He's trying to work towards his blink for initiation, but when it comes down to the defense, it looks like they're just kind of set to surrender a lot of these outer towers now.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Well, Alacrity's just going to defend bot lane by himself. Paulison may get caught by Natsumi, but even he's not feeling confident about the Snapfire. You probably have enough damage, but the problem is he may have help around. So they understand Natsumi needs a bit more time on this Tiny to really feel comfortable. In the meantime, the rest of the team will just farm other sides of the map. Paulison's still having a look around though. Scan is going to catch CML. Will they bother chasing him, however? I mean, you could just go after that mid-tier 2 instead. You know that Polaris just cannot afford to fight you. I think In Your Dream with the Aegis up, just rotates mid. They get another tier 2 tower and start setting up for high ground.
Yeah, no problems here for NGX. Polaris do have all their spells up for good defense. I think they will just depend on the high ground defense now, as kind of expending those spells outside is a bit wasteful. Down bot though, JoeCam.
It's going to be okay for now as he gets the finger out. Boomy's the one to drop. Natsumi, he does at least get the trade, and Alacrity will not have the chains. So no way to lock down the Tiny. 1 for 1. In the meantime, NGX did secure that mid-tier 2. Looks like they're just going to go for the final tier 2 tower, perhaps. I mean, no real reason not to. Doesn't seem like they have quite enough time to go high ground yet. Mizu. Oh, he's been caught out on that Undying, and now you definitely can't go high ground. I say that, In Your Dream is still rushing forward as if he's going to go fight, and he will. CML going to go down, and while it was still a favorable trade for Polaris, you still get something for NGX.
You get something that kind of makes it a bit hard for Natsumi to just toss his body forward. It's not much of a window for NGX though. Respawns are still fairly short, 21 minutes in the game, but In Your Dream is building up. Still a minute left on the Aegis. He's going to have his AC up and running really soon, so even that physical output on the Tiny is not going to feel like it's really big burst damage. When the AC just kind of counteracts a lot of that crit damage that might come through from Natsumi once the crystal is up. So I like the itemization coming out from NGX. They're shoving in the bot tier 2 next. Alacrity's just here. Still has a 9-second BKB charge. Working towards his Aghanim's next. So he's going to hit his major power spike on that Ember once that item's up. And there's nothing to stop him. The push happens. It happens so fast with the minus armor coming in from Kami-sama. And the map is completely naked. No outer towers left for Polaris. Jokam playing tag up top, it will eventually TP down, and they're just going to commit now.
You know that they are. Natsumi, he's going to show up. They've got to try and defend this. That tier 3 tower just taking so much damage already as now the cookie does land. Mortimer's kisses. He needs help right now. Natsumi still being chased down by these kisses. The song, it's there, and Natsumi will barely survive. But Alacrity, he's going to try and chase with the Sleight of Fist. He's not far enough to get within range, but it won't matter. They are still cleaning up. Boomy's going to drop. They're back onto the tier 3 tower. And of course, at this game, or rather this time of the game, you don't expect many buybacks to be available. So NGX know they can go for the full lane of barracks. There's really not much that Polaris can do to try and defend. Back is nice. They still have Reincarnate. They've still got time to go back for that final lane of barracks, and now In Your Dream, he's back in onto CML and finishes off the job as well. Buyback will be forced out immediately, but they're onto Natsumi now. They've got the control out. The Tiny going to be surged away, but can he get away? He's been stunned up, but the false promise is going to save. I assume, as he barely gets out, my goodness. Just slither away from dying there on that Tiny. So try to go for a bit more. That'll be enough for NGX. They got a lane of barracks at 22 minutes in. You've got to be happy with that.
We definitely are. And we talked about the timings for NGX. They have a much smoother ride early on. They're leveraging that really well In Your Dream. From that fight, from that entire push, he's going to have his AC up in 700 gold. So you've got to deal with even more minus armor on the Wraith King. You've got to deal with some additional armor as well. The Silver Edge is up and running for Natsumi. So he's got more presence. He's got that spike on the Tiny, but I don't think it's enough. I feel like Natsumi's going to need a BKB up now. He can't keep relying on the dispels from the Oracle. He's got to be able to stand his ground, get the hits off. That means just a little bit more time farming here, but if they can ride through, hold on until the BKB is up on Natsumi, it will feel a little bit better for Polaris. But until then, they just kind of need to hold back, farm where they can, maybe get some good defensive wards out, especially in the triangle, and just try to keep building up and avoiding these fights.
Top tower is under attack. Dire are scanning.
Boomy. Be alright for now. They'll get the ensnare off onto the Snapfire. They're trying to focus down Mizu, but the Cookie gonna save his life. He'll get down to the low ground, get the Tombstone out, backwater, try and help out Natsumi, but he's still in massive danger. Trying to kill off In Your Dream, but he can't do it. And he has no buyback to make matters worse. They just wipe them out so quick. And NGX, I mean, obviously they're going for another high ground attempt, I think. No real reason not to. You've got Reincarnate back up in 5. Or even the salve out from Polison. And they go.
Yeah. Novak Wall, Dreamcoil's still up. The last teamfight spell they can use maybe a good song as well, but there's just no setup, no follow-up without the wall back, so another set of racks just being unceremoniously taken by NGX, as they will just probably be able to gut for Mega Creeps. There's just nothing to be scared of. In Your Dream's just so big. He will hit level 18 soon as well if he's lucky.
Boomy got spotted. Your Dream won't be able to finish off the job. Again though, with the Reincarnate, he might feel safe enough to keep going, but no, they're picking out the Roshan. Problem is the Rosh is going to be a minute and a half away from respawning, but I mean, with a 12k net worth advantage and 2 racks is up, you're definitely going to have first dibs. Polaris right now, they're on their last legs in this game number 2. Still not out of it, but you lose that next Roshan, I don't see how you kill In Your Dream 3 times. He hasn't really died once this game.
No, he hasn't. And he's got max level Reincarnate up. So it's a 60-second cooldown, and that's probably long enough for him to get another use of from Reincarnate in the middle of the fight. I just don't think they have the burst from Polaris. Maybe if Natsumi just focuses his entire effort onto the Wraith King and everyone else as well just piles on, it can work, but we've seen that in the high ground fight in the triangle, and it just didn't work out for Polaris. So I think NGX, not much to be worried about. They control the map basically, every lane gonna be shoving it. They still have a tier 1 mid, tier 2 top and bot, and they can just keep going.
Yep, absolutely. Still very little buybacks available right now for Polaris, so definitely a hard ask to expect them to defend, but well, they've got to try. Natsumi about 250 gold off that buyback gold. It probably won't be enough time to farm that up as this Rax is going down. Meanwhile, Song was committed in the back there from Boomy. It's not really a great setup for anything. I think he's just trying to survive, but in comes the cavalry. They're on Mizu. He'll get Avalanche Toss, but he's just fine. He'll tank through it. Alacrity, he's onto the back lines, and now In Your Dream comes in. Do they have detection? Apparently not. So Natsumi, he's going to survive. And in fact, Mizu's the one to drop. And NGX, they've got to back out.
They respect the buyback. They just go for a quick reset. No Undying means no Tombstone, no Soul Rip heal, no damage happening Flesh Golem. The side of Polaris do manage to get the scan off, but I don't think they can really play up here. Boomy will scout out though.
He's going to find the lion. However, Natsumi, who is he focusing? He's going to try onto the Wraith King, throws him back towards the wave Joe camps. There's one down. Find more. They are controlling up this Wraith King quite nicely. Your Dream, does he want to keep going? I mean, Roshan's up. They can't really afford to lose this team fight. In Your Dream, still going to move around, but they have the Silver Edge and the normal punch. And now you've got to commit to the team fight, but the Mortimer's Kisses, they'll come flying in. They found the puck already. Mac's going to drop. They'll leave Natsumi be with that false promise, instead going back in after Boomy. They'll be 2 down without buyback. So you go for the Roshan now, you wait out that Reincarnate, and you just go high ground straight after.
Yeah, no worries here for NGX. They know the wall's down. No puck for the Dream Coil, no Naga for the Song. And that means no contestation coming through from Polaris. Ags and Ag Shard as well, along with the Aegis there. BKB up and running on IYD. The Shard, curious to see who they pass it on to. Jokam already has his. You could give it to In Your Dream, but it doesn't feel like he's going to get value. He's not really hurting for mana anyway. You might just want to hand it perhaps to Paulson. You know, that stun on Cookie's big. No, they'll pass it to Alacrity instead. So the Remnants with damage and vision is going to be good. Coming out. The damage and the Remnants flying through when you kill a hero is going to be pretty good. And with the 3 lives up, they just go into high ground. Nothing stopped them from the last set of racks.
Absolutely not. The voice line's coming out now. They understand there is really no way to not get Megas. The one final team fight here from Polaris now. You love the creativity from this draft, but it definitely hasn't looked so strong this game as they'll drop the Tombstone. They're going all the way for those tier 4 towers. Natsumi, who'll make the jump in onto Mizu. They almost have him, but Soul Rip is going to be there in time for him to be able to survive. And now In Your Dream can get to work. Song is out. Boomy going to hold a couple down as they get the Tombstone out. Can they keep this fight up though? They'll try. Mizu still alive throughout all of this damage. As now, In Your Dream, he's been controlled up. He'll just spin around in circles. No problem here for the Wraith King. As the GG's been called. Polaris, they tried. They threw all their spells out. Unfortunately, it just amounts to nothing. And that'll be a 2-0 victory here for NGX.
We talked about it going into the series, Mike. NGX looked a bit shaky, and I think we saw a little bit of that in Game 1, where Polaris was getting a bit of a good start. Game 2, though, in this game, NGX manages to just kind of take control start to finish. They had really good lanes coming out. Sure, I think Mizu's lane was probably the slower one. It was an Undying lane. He wasn't really able to apply too much pressure, but he did manage to solo that lane for a very long time, while Jokam was getting some mid lane rotations to deny rune use off, which kind of dictated whether or not Alacrity or Mac would win out. And I think that set NGX up for some fast scaling on Alacrity. We also saw pretty much free farm for In Your Dream. Initially, right, that this Naga Siren Darkseer combination, on paper it's strong, but they never managed to hit that spike afterwards. Like, they were being aggressive early on. They managed to find that kill onto Paulson. But after that, they kind of split the lanes up. Boomy just went to bot to help out, went to mid to help secure that lane for Mac, and suddenly you lost the combination. You lost that big setup you got from draft and kind of fell flat. So NGX went out. Polaris, there were some interesting ideas, but didn't quite work out the way they wanted to. They're going to have to look for a win elsewhere, especially if they want to climb up and save themselves from near the bottom spot, which they are kind of hanging at 7th right now.
Yeah. With that, we are going to head to a 15-minute break, John. And of course, right after that break, we're going to be back with our final series of the night between Execration and Young Gun Galacticos. Hopefully it'll be a good one. We'll be back very soon for that final matchup.